exercise that we did Greg and I did a few years ago. I have not heard back from him yet. I'd like to make sure that tomorrow we find out where he is with that, so that we can do this.
He's coming back tomorrow.
Okay?
I will say personally that I know the amount of work you put into it, and I'm not particularly comfortable with going through all these exercises and then not being followed up and not done. So either tell us it's great, we're crazy, and don't do it, or don't tell us you're gonna do it, not do it. I'm not talking about anybody in particular, but I definitely wanna see it before the next time we go over this, or I'm not necessarily comfortable with it. Because, I know that on the revenue side, there was some adjustments made through your efforts, and I just think that if you're gonna put the time in, it better be taken seriously.
Yes, well, but I need cooperation in order to get that done. And the amount of time that we put into it previously required a lot of manual labor, which meant I had to take all this information, copy and paste it onto an Excel spreadsheet, line everything up and do that, and that's just not feasible. And, after a discussion with Vince, we've agreed that he's going to be able to create something that's going to be conducive for us to be able to do our job. So the reports that we're looking at right now are helpful for you, but not for us.
We could begin the process, Lou. We don't need to wait for Vince. So if we have our numbers all ready to go, we can just give them to Vince and then we'll plug them into the sub-account that he creates. So we could begin that whenever you're ready.
Okay, so let's set something up, and before we leave here today, to maybe meet this week, maybe Thursday or something like that.
Well, you're not setting up for sub-accounts, I mean, you're professional.
No, I'm not setting that up, but.
Yeah, but he needs to give direction to us as far as the dollar value and the percentages that he wants to place into these sub-accounts.
Well, we did it as a team. We went through the budget and we looked at every item, we analyzed what the spending patterns were over the course of 2 or 3 years, and then we came up with an appropriate amount of money to, for that particular sub-account or line item. And that's how we came up with some of those savings. This time, we're gonna do that again, but we're not gonna make the money disappear. We're gonna keep it in the budget, and we're just gonna keep it in a sub-account that's going to be labeled, whatever it is that it has to be labeled, so that Joe can do his job. So as long as we're okay and we can make those changes during this initial introduction, then, I'm okay with that.
We can do it in the next 4 weeks, we have plenty of time. Do we have any other questions from the council for Joe or Steve? Seeing none. Seeing none.
I don't understand what's funny. I'm missing something. Is there a problem here?
Who's left?
All right. I gotta go.
Should I quote these now?
Yes, Steve, do you want the cap done first or the budget result?
No, you can do what you have, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so doing one at a time?
Yes, we'll do the ordinance 1505, the cap ordinance. Okay. Ordinance 1505-2014, and it is a calendar year 2014 ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank in accordance with NJSA 48:4-45.14. Whereas the calendar year 2014 ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank, NJSA 48:4-45.14, introduced on April 21st, 2014, and passes its first reading, will be considered for final passage and public hearing on May 19, 2014, at 7 o'clock p.m. at the Edgewater Municipal Building, 55 River Road, Edgewater, New Jersey.
Do I have an introduction?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Do we have any discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Henwood?
Yes.
Councilman Dorans? Councilman Murphy?
Yes.
Councilman Bedell?
Yes.
Councilman Bartholomew?
Yes.
Motion passes. Resolution 2014-086, which is budget introduction. Be resolved resolved that the budget statements and revenues and appropriations shall constitute the municipal budget for the year 2014 in the amount of $20,379,931 is to be raised by taxation. Be it further resolved that a hearing on the budget and tax resolution will be held at the Edgewater Borough Hall, 5th February Road on May 19, 2014 at 7 o'clock p.m. And be it further resolved that said budget be published in the record in April 28, 2014 edition of the record. Introduction.
Do I have an intro? Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Henry.
Yes.
Councilman Monty.
Yes.
Councilman Bedell.
Yes.
Councilman Bartolomeo.
Yes.
Motion passes. And the next resolution is resolution 2014-087, increase in reserve uncollected taxes.
Do I have an introduction?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Henry.
Yes.
Councilman Monty.
Yes.
Councilman Bedell.
Yes.
Councilman Bartolomeo.
Yes.
Motion passes. And finally, resolution 2014-088, which is a self-review resolution.
Do I have an introduction? Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a question with regards to this one. What exactly do they mean by self-review?
What the state has, the Division of Local Government Services has a rotating, once every 3 years. They review your budget. The other 2 years, you can self-review your budget. The bottom line is, they're so backed up that they just can't physically review every single budget in the time period, since most of the fiscal year towns going back to becoming calendar years. For instance, I have a public hearing in Hoboken on Wednesday night. I've already been told that they're not going to get to review that budget before the hearing. So they bail certain municipalities the ability to self-review for 2 consecutive years before you have to go back to the pool to be reviewed by representative of the state. And again, it's a certification by the CFO that the debt service is right, that the budget adds up, that the reserve fund taxes is collected correctly.
Like a random audit?
Well, no, it's more like they vest, it's almost like if you've been a good citizen, there's certain municipalities will never be self-reviewed, just because of the issues within that municipality, that city, that township, and their budget. There's other municipalities, a lot of them, which are in Bergen County, which don't have those type of budgetary issues, which allows the state the confidence to allow you to self-review your budget 2 out of 3 years.
You're in their order. That's what we do.
Well, actually, it's the certification by the CFO.
I think
I thought that was,
Nice little copy.
but no, I take no credit. But it's something, what it does is it will expedite getting the budget hearing, and if depending on what the council ends up wanting to do in 4 weeks relative to amending, not amending the budget, it just accelerates the process so that you can get your budget adopted. Presumably, if the county ever adopts their budget, get the tax rate and get tax bills out so you don't have to deal with estimated tax bills.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Henwood.
Yes.
Councilman Monty.
Yes.
Councilman Vidal.
Yes.
Councilman Bartolomeo.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thanks for coming in tonight. See you guys in 4 weeks.
God willing.
Okay, I'd ask for, before we go into close, I just would like to provide an update to the public and residents of Edgewater concerning Veterans Field. As you already know, the borough has hired a special counsel to file claims against the responsible parties for the cost of the cleanup, the Veterans Field, and the completion of the renovations. The borough, through counsel, has been in contact with the bond company, which will most likely be the quickest way to obtain monetary damages for the contractor's breach of contract for placement of contaminated fill onto Veterans Field. However, this will take time. In the meantime, the borough will seek to use the balance of the contract amount, approximately $4 million, to immediately start the cleanup of Veterans Field. The removal of the contaminated fill will be done by a licensed contractor approved by the Department of Environmental Protection. We hope the cleanup will commence within the next 30 days. I want to assure the public that I will do everything possible to make sure Veterans Field is safe for our children and residents. After the improper fill is removed, I anticipate that the borough will next seek to complete all the renovations at Veterans Field. This will be funded by a performance bond, if possible, or if necessary, by a new bond ordinance that will be repaid by the responsible parties who breached the contract with the borough. I would also like to inform the public that the NJDEP has been asked to take over jurisdiction of this project in order to assist the borough with the prompt cleanup and completion of the field. I would also like to provide you with an update on the Alcoa site. The New Jersey DEP was notified on April 4th, 2014 that the Alcoa site, which is believed to be the source of the contaminated material placed in Veterans Field, recently went under additional soil testing. The recent testing revealed that additional contamination was present on the site, including PCBs. As a result, all construction activity on the Alcoa site has been stopped. No further activity will take place on the Alcoa site until the governing body is provided with proof from the NJDEP that the health, safety, and welfare of the public is protected. No further activity will take place until the governing body approves a developer's agreement that ensures the performance bonds have been posted, all insurance policies are in place, and the safety of our residents is protected. I hope to provide you periodic updates over the next several months on the progress of Veterans Field. Thank you for understanding and cooperation during this unfortunate situation. At this time, we will enter into closed session to discuss Veterans Field litigation. We have Attorney Carson with us here tonight, so do I have a motion to enter into closed?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Henry.
Yes.
Councilman Monty.
Yes.
Councilman Vidal.
Yes.
Councilman Gargano.
Yes.
Motion passes.